On a busy American street, hundreds of people walked by. Cars rushed past, horns blared, and life just kept moving. In the middle of all that chaos, a small, frightened cat sat huddled, completely ignored. Nobody stopped, nobody even seemed to notice. It felt like the world had forgotten what it means to be kind. But then one person did stop. It was a simple act, really. Just a moment of hesitation, a decision to help when everyone else walked away. That small act of kindness turned into a rescue, a second chance for a tiny creature lost in a big, loud city. Why did this one moment matter so much? Because it was a reminder that compassion can show up when we least expect it, often in the quietest ways. It was a flicker of light in a seemingly indifferent world, a single act that restored a little bit of faith in humanity. The person who stopped that day probably thought they were the one doing the rescuing. They took the cat home, gave it a name, food, and a safe place to sleep. They thought they were the hero of this story. But here's the twist. Life has a funny way of coming full circle. A few years later, that same person was going through one of the toughest times of their life. They felt lost, alone, and completely overwhelmed, a lot like that little cat on the busy street. The world felt cold and indifferent all over again. And who was there for them day after day? Who curled up on their lap when tears were falling, purring softly as if to say, "I'm here, you're not alone"? It was that same rescued cat. The animal that was once saved had now become the savior. It returned the favor in a way that no human could. It offered silent, unconditional love when it was needed most. That cat didn't just get a home that day on the street. It found a person to save later on. It's a powerful lesson, isn't it? Sometimes the love we give away comes back to rescue us when we least expect it. True connection isn't about grand gestures. It's about being there. These are the kinds of stories that remind us of the good in the world. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, and follow for more real stories that restore your faith in humanity. Thanks for watching.